1008198. Here is the answer. 1 2 1 4 0 6 2 6 4 4 3 6 2 3 2. That's my answer. What does the pie set have to say?
It's the same.
It's correct.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
World became acquainted with the Lady with the Lamp, or Florence Nightingale, for her resolute service towards the ailing human beings. Florence was astonished to learn about the benevolent activities of an Indian Bengali woman, being aware about the condition of Indian women of that time. She was impressed to learn how Kadambini Ganguly, in spite of being married and being a mother, continued her study of medicine without being absent from a single lecture. Florence immediately wrote a letter to her Indian friend, wanting to know more about Kadambini. Kadambini started her education in 1873 at the First Educational Institute for Women, which later joined with the Bethune School, and she passed her entrance from this very institute. Lord Lytton and Lady Lytton appreciated her by felicitating her. Kadambini's contemporary was another woman called Chandramukhi Basu, who too passed the entrance in political economics. They brought great pride to Bengal, and Bethune School eventually became Bethune College.
Grateful to you. We appreciate you coming here for this honor, which we're glad to bestow upon you. And try and get this over your head.
Father tried to get me into music, into dance, into painting, and we tried everything to see where my talent lay. I was willing to work hard at those things, but it didn't come as naturally as math and science did. I wanted to become a scientist, and I wanted to become one that was somehow internationally famous.
The Nobel Prize offered inspiration to another budding scientist in a different country. Nancy Chang was a young high school student in Taiwan when two Taiwanese scientists, Seung-Dao Lee and Chang-Ning Franklin Yang, won the Nobel Prize.
They were national heroes. They came to Taiwan. They were in the news. We were being taught by our professors, like, it's national pride.
Nancy attended Taiwan's National Tsinghua University, where she met a fellow budding scientist, Sei-Wen Chang. Both received scholarships for graduate school. They married just a few days before boarding the plane. Nancy planned to study chemistry, but during the long flight, something curious happened. She read The Double Helix, James Watson's seminal book on his discovery of the structure of DNA.
And then when I read Double Helix, that book was so beautifully written. I made up my mind that I want to go into medical school.
Moving to the United States was a huge adjustment for Nancy and Sei-Wen. They were international students at Harvard, where professors demanded excellence from every student, whether or not they had a language barrier. What's more, Nancy was entirely new to the field of biology, so her first years there were exceptionally challenging.
I had professors give us this big stack of paper every week to read. You can't finish up, and then you went to the professor and he said to you, it's good for you. Go finish. I grew up very passively, but it really takes hardship to bring the true yourself out, to speak out, to do what you want to do, to be the person you really become.
One of us in India is proud of us, proud of a person like you who has done such a pioneering work. And particularly the women and youth of India take great pride in seeing what you have done in the space. My hearty congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
When I think of you, I think what a long journey you have covered from Karnal to space, long distance. And therefore, सितारों से आगे जहाँ और भी हैं, there are worlds beyond stars, and now you have seen them. How do you feel about them?
It's a very special feeling, and really up here, the night sky, when you look at it, what you are saying does become very literal. It's a dome of a dark sky and stars everywhere, and the earth, a lot of time covered with thunderstorms here and there, with some small sprays of lightning, and every once in a while city lights the clouds. And it is very much like a storybook. And the crew that I'm working with out here, all of us work so well together, and it's such an honor and privilege to be able to share this very special mission with them.
To do a little adventure and like to do cool stuff, probably usually become astronauts. Like Superman! Woo! We're lucky we have a really cool big space station that you can fly around in. That's actually called the PMM. You might have saw it out the window. It's a big silver canister. Any problems? I know a couple of the questions are about what type of things do you have to worry about. And some of the things we have to worry about in space are fire. If we had a fire, if we had a depressurization, like we were hit by a micrometeorite and it made a hole, or if we had some type of toxic atmosphere. We use ammonia for our radiator, so there is a possibility that ammonia could come into the vehicle, and then it would be bad for all of us. If we have any of those problems, we come right here, which we call the central post. It is the main heart of the space station. It was also the first computers that came up here.
In the century before the first general-purpose computers, Ada Lovelace is often called the world's first computer programmer. Lovelace was the daughter of famous poet Lord Byron, who, expecting the baby to be a glorious boy, was somewhat disappointed. Her parents soon separated, and Ada was raised by her aristocratic mother, who was so determined that her daughter not become a poet that she educated her in mathematics from an early age. As it turned out, Lovelace had an incredible affinity to the subject, helped by tutors like mathematician Augustus de Morgan. And at the age of 17, she was introduced to Charles Babbage, who was in the midst of developing his analytical engine, the theoretical precursor to the first computers. Babbage was impressed with Lovelace's intellect, calling her the Enchantress of Numbers, and he enlisted her help in translating the papers of Italian mathematician Luigi Menabrea on the analytical engine, as well as inviting her to add her own notes on the topic. Her notes were extensive, 3 times longer than the original paper, and are now recognized as containing the first computer algorithm, a method for calculating a sequence of Bernoulli numbers with the engine. In her paper published in 1843, she also suggested that such a machine could be used to create complex music and graphics, as well as other practical uses in science. Though she died at the age of 36 in 1852, her predictions would later be proved correct. Today, her early contributions are recognized in the computer language named Ada, and through Ada Lovelace Day, a date that has now become a celebration of all inspirational female scientists and mathematicians.
Science makes people reach selflessly for truth and objectivity. It teaches people to accept reality with wonder and admiration, not to mention the deep awe and joy that the natural order of things brings to the true scientist. These powerful women in STEM never back down from pursuing their passions, and those enduring legacies continue to move other women into the STEM fields. As today is International Day of Women and Girls in Science, we wanted to celebrate those women who revolutionized their fields. These women persevered despite oppressive institutions, restrictions on higher education, gender barriers, and race-driven divisions within their research fields. They broke the social stigma and are continuing to inspire the youth even today. If you know you are on the right track, if you have this inner knowledge, then nobody can turn you off, no matter what they say. By Barbara McClintock, a cytogenicist and winner of the 1983 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine.